It started in the ribs. Not like music. Like a warning. Like rain in the walls, like something the body remembers before the mouth can speak. The room got bright, then mean, then small. And some people still call that holy. They taught us to kneel before we learned to stand. They taught us obedience before they taught us safety. They taught us to distrust our own bodies, our own memory, our own voice when it rose above a whisper. They called it goodness, they called it getting clean. But I was 9, and the mirror already knew something had been taken. Every lock had a lesson, every bruise had a reason. Every silence was iron flat and dressed for Sunday. You can wash the skin, you can starch the white. You can line the children up in polished shoes. But you cannot make sacred what was done in the dark.
I am not the only thing that was raised in the house of God, not the only one who still wakes with both fists clenched, not the only one who hears an old hymn and feels the whole room change. Still that home, still that home, still the body going cold when the low notes come. I am not the only victim that was raised in the house of God.
There were old men in the church who wore leadership like a robe. Men people trusted, men people thanked, men people pointed to and said there, that is goodness. And on the bathroom floor, trust became terror. Not all at once, it came dressed as correction, as order, as righteousness, in a voice so heavy a child could not argue with it. Tile against the cheek, breath locked in the chest, a hand that said be still without ever saying please. The smell of bleach, the hum of the lights, the kind of fear that makes the body leave before the body can run. So the child learned how to leave without moving, how to go still and survive, how to carry a room inside him long after the door was gone. Old hymns in the hall, old names in the wall, tile under the knees, breath held thin, trying not to let the old room in. And the boy grew up, but the fear grew with him. He reached for other men without knowing why. Not love, not peace, not even comfort. Maybe a wound trying to speak its own language. Maybe the body walking back toward what broke it. Maybe damage mistaken for desire. And afterward there was that hollow feeling that split, that ached without a name. The water running but not making him clean, his own face in the mirror looking borrowed. His mouth tasting like panic, his skin feeling borrowed too. Like the bathroom floor had followed him into every room, like something inside him kept asking, why do I keep giving myself to the same shadow? They said, keep it buried, protect the church, protect the family, protect the witness. So he wore silence until it started wearing him.
I am not the only victim that was raised in the house of God, not the only one still carrying hand I never asked to hold, not the only one who hears those old hymns and goes still in the dark. Still that pull, still that hum, still the mouth going dry when the low notes come. I am not the only victim that was raised in the house of God.
The knees remember what the mind tries to misplace. The throat remembers how silence was forced into it. The body remembers the weight, the floor, the cold, the waiting for it to end. And years later, the hurt still enters first, still sits down at the table, still climbs into bed, still reaches through a hymn and puts his hand over the mouth. If the walls could speak, they would not sing. They would testify. So let the organ breathe. Let the room be silent. Let the old hymn fade, not to soothe, but to reveal. The church did not only wound the skin, it wounded the mind. It taught confusion. It trained fear. It put a stranger's voice where a child's voice should have been. I can't be the only one.
Not the one, no.
Not the only one on that bathroom floor.
Not the one, no.
Who grew up and mistook damage for desire.
Call it what it is.
A child, a church, a bathroom floor, and a lifetime learning how to tell the truth.
I am not the only victim that was raised in the house of God. Not the only one who still waits with both fists clenched. Not the one who hears an old hymn and feels the whole room change. Still that pulse, still that pulse, still the body going cold when the low note